As morality declines, freedom declines. And we have to get out of this air of knowing that we are moral, the false illusion of thinking about what a moral human being constitutes, about what being a moral human being constitutes. That's altogether different than truly knowing the difference between right and wrong and actively choosing the right action over the wrong action in every moment of your life that you can do that. Okay? Those two things are completely different from each other. Believing someone is a moral human being is completely different than them actually being a moral human being. They're worlds of difference. True freedom, ladies and gentlemen, can never, underline it 25 times, can never, not just won't, okay? It is an impossibility under law for true freedom ever to manifest in a society that embraces moral relativism. Okay? And this is, again, this notion of moral relativism is what so many people have bought into. Government is moral relativism. Okay? The New Age movement is touting moral relativism. And what moral relativism is, and then I'll tell you really what it comes from and is a part of, okay? Moral relativism is the idea that there is no objective difference between right and wrong behavior. So humanity itself, human beings, can actually arbitrarily decide or create what right and wrong are for themselves. Okay? So when let's just look at marijuana prohibition as just a random thing. Okay? Is there such a thing as whether the ingestion, growth, sharing, selling of the marijuana leaf plant, the cannabis plant, okay, is a right or a wrong? Well, go back to the example. 2 people on the earth, cannabis plant. Could I ingest that? Or would somebody else have a right to stop me from ingesting that? Now, I'm saying, can I ingest it? If I did ingest a compound and then I went nuts on it and tried to attack somebody else, they have every defensive right to stop me from performing that action. Would somebody have a right to stop me from ingesting a compound that they don't find somehow agreeable? Okay, because I may ingest that compound and take a nap. I may ingest that compound and sit and meditate on and contemplate life for a half an hour or an hour or so. I may ingest that compound and go for a swim. Okay? The point is, that person would not have a right to stop me physically by some form of force from ingesting something into my body. So the ingestion of that compound is a universal right, because I own my body, it's my property, and I get to decide what gets put in it or does not get to put in it. Okay? So, if you make a law that says, I am allowed to prevent people from the ingestion of a particular compound, is that in harmony with natural law, or is it in opposition to natural law? It's in opposition to natural law. So then, could man's law possibly be based in moral objectivism? Absolutely, completely impossible. By embracing that it is okay to pass a law like that, you have embraced moral relativism. And the fact that society isn't in an outcry against that, and believe me, I think there are many other wars that we could wage other than just waging the war against the war on drugs, okay? I think the real war has to be the war in truly getting out of mind control and understanding the difference between right and wrong personally. But the fact that there is no moral outcry about all drug laws, about all tax laws, okay, is proof that people are entrapped in a state of moral relativism in their own minds. And this idea is satanic. Okay? And I'm not asking you to believe that. I'm telling you because, again, my background comes from dark occultism. I know what I know largely because I worked with the people who are in control of the world for 10 years of my life. And I'm telling you, moral relativism is one of the main foundational tenets of Satanism. It is one of the foundational tenets of the satanic religion. which is what's ultimately controlling this world. All right? If you embrace moral relativism, the idea that man gets to decide what's right or wrong for himself, you're going into a prison, and you're staying there. That is the law of freedom. Get used to it and get over it. Understand that that's just how the universal laws of consciousness work. And as soon as we understand that, we'll start building a world that's going to be increasing in freedom, because the people of that society will be increasing in true morality. Moral relativism is guaranteeing the slavery of the human species. It's a very dangerous trend, and it's not just being propagated by the powers that should not be in this world, or the dark occult. It is being propagated by the so-called New Age movement. The claim that the difference between right and wrong, it's dualistic. Mark, you're being so dualistic. No, I'm exercising discernment and judgment over what will move us forward as a species and what will not. Over what will lead to freedom and what cannot lead to freedom. Such thinking, moral relativism, is the very dynamic that is enslaving our species. And until we are out of it, we are not going to be out of the chains that bind us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a break right there. That's the end of our first section. Please be... Thank you. Wrapped up about 7 minutes early, so we have a little bit extra time for lunch. Please be back here a little bit before 2. I'm going to attempt to begin the second part of the seminar promptly at 2 p.m. Thank you. And we left off in the previous section talking about moral relativism and how that's really going to keep the dynamic on our planet the way it is. So with that having been said, I'm going to jump into some more of the topics regarding what it really means to be awake. This past section that we just completed here with an explanation of what moral relativism is and what it basically brings into manifestation has been all about natural law. And a huge part of what understanding natural law means is about balancing what I call the two principles or pillars of enlightenment. So being awake means knowing and living both of the pillars or the principles of enlightenment, both the sacred feminine principle of non-aggression and the sacred masculine principle of self-defense. And this is actually a part of what it means to understand natural law.